Hi everybody, and welcome to the initial installment of BarsomBlog Webcast. I want to apologize right off the bat to all of my many viewers out there for the annoying buzzing sound that you're probably hearing in the background. I don't know what the problem is. I've spent a lot of the morning trying to figure out how to get that to work without that buzzing sound, and I don't know. I don't have good equipment. I'm not a techie really, so just bear with me. If I do this again, I'll try to make sure I have better equipment and that this is a little bit more tolerable to listen to than it is currently. Because this is a South Africa class, let's just pretend that it's a bunch of vuvuzelas. Like, you know how YouTube during the World Cup had that vuvuzela button that you could press and it would play? We'll just pretend that that's what's going on here. Alright, so this week we discussed a number of readings about careers outside of the traditional tenure stream professorial job. And there was a few articles that talked about how digital humanities in particular maybe can help alleviate some of these problems and create ways for people to contribute outside of the traditional sort of journal and publication tenured research professor sort of line of work that you have to be into currently to really sort of engage with the field in a substantial way. So the shortage of tenure track jobs is not something that should be new to anybody. We're all familiar with this, right? And in fact, I mean, in history, I mean, it could be worse, right? I mean, we could be in like philosophy, or we could be in English, or God forbid, music, right? I mean, there's a huge surplus of people with PhDs in fields where there are just simply not enough open tenure track positions to accommodate them all, and usually it's many times more qualified PhD recipients than there are tenure stream jobs. So the solution to this, nobody seems to think the solution to this is just to squeeze programs and make them small, and really only produce enough PhD students to satisfy the job market, because that would pretty much choke all of our disciplines to death, right? I mean, we need vibrant departments with large dynamic groups of graduate students working on original research, contributing to the intellectual environment, producing publications, and producing a large pool of people from which universities can draw when they are looking for people to hire in tenure stream work. So what we need to do, maybe instead of just squeezing down the size of our programs, or maybe just limiting it to only Ivies can produce people that can be PhDs in English because they're the only ones that'll get jobs anyway, right? I mean, that's not something that we wanna do. So all of the authors that we read this week, or at least the ones that were addressing this issue in particular, agreed that we need to accept the reality that most PhDs are not working as tenure stream faculty members, and look at instead what they are doing. So Brenda Bestman and Sean Longstreet, for example, talk about different jobs in the academy that people with PhDs are doing that are not professors, and they call these, I think it's alt-ac, as if it's a key combination on a keyboard or something. And so they list all sorts of things that people with PhDs are currently doing, things like advising, working in administration, grant writing, research offices, communications, public relations, working at academic centers. So all kinds of different things in the academy that professors don't do, but that it is helpful to have somebody who has a lot of experience in the academy, who knows how things work, who maybe has a specialized knowledge set about a particular subject, right, in the case of particular center administrative jobs, to do effectively. So these are, and those of you who have spent enough time around the academy, and I think most of us at this point have, know that a lot of people who are very highly qualified, who are experts in their field, are not working as professors. They're working as librarians, or people are the fine folks over at Matrix, right? And this is a reality. So the problem, then, Katna Rogers in her piece says, is that there's an idea that these are sort of fallback jobs, right? That you want to be a tenured professor, and if you're doing anything that's not that, you've kind of failed. You've let your advisor down. You've let your program down. You've let fellow graduate students in the same field down. You've let yourself down, right? You've failed. And maybe that's not overt, but that's certainly that kind of vibe that you get. And I've known people. I have a friend, a family friend, who got her. I forget what her degree was in, but so she was going on the job market, and she was looking for teaching jobs. She wanted to teach at a small college. She teaches at Huntington College, or no, Juniata College in Huntington in central Pennsylvania right now. She chose this job. She wanted to do this job, and she got a lot of grief for doing this instead of pursuing R1 jobs from her advisor, from her committee members, from the department chair, from a lot of people. So what Rogers says is that we need to kind of move beyond this idea of thinking about PhD training as a pipeline for work as tenure stream faculty members, and instead we should think about it as a sprinkler, right? Like, you know, shooting people in all sorts of different tracks, right? So we're placing people as tenure stream faculty members, sure, but we're also placing people in the nonprofit sector, and we're placing people maybe even in the private sector in some disciplines. You know, there's a lot of skills that could be relevant. We're maybe placing people in administrative work in the academy. I mean, there's lots of different kinds of things that people can end up doing. And if we think about this as something that's normal, right, which it is, but if we think about it as something that's to be expected, and that's not sort of a fallback, that's not a second-tier line of work, it might relieve some of the, not only relieve some of the anxiety, but it might make us think more consciously about improving training for different kinds of work. So, I mean, and I don't think anybody would disagree with that. I mean, that's a pretty agreeable statement, right? I mean, we should prepare people for different lines of work if they're going to be doing it, sure. So the question is, you know, how do we do that? And in terms of the digital side of things, I found that this week's readings were maybe a little lacking in that area. There's a lot of people writing about digital publication, right? Publishing in blogs and so on. And that's great, right? I mean, Alex Cummings and Jonathan Jarrett make a really good case for how digital publication, in particular blogs, are a really good way for people to get their ideas out there without having to worry about peer review, without having to worry about, you know, obsessively researching every claim they make, but just to get ideas out there, get them flowing, get some reaction, maybe reach a broader community, stay in touch with people in their discipline, sort of form a stronger scholarly community. This is wonderful. This is great. And I'm all for considering this, if it's serious, right? If people are producing serious ideas and networking in a serious way, I'm all for considering this maybe as part of academic work. Which, you know, I mean, let's face it, in a lot of cases it is now. But on the other hand, I'm not sure exactly from the readings how this helps broaden the accessibility of the scholarly community to PhDs who are not tenure stream faculty members, right? I mean, because so you can blog all you want, you can contribute to the discipline all you want, but you're not getting paid for it, right? Hell, you're not getting paid for your scholarly publications, for the most part. What you're getting paid for is your professorial position, right? You are employed by an institution, and then through that employment, through the opportunity that gives you by having that employment, you can then engage, and you have to, as part of your job, engage with the scholarly debate and with the academic community. But for people who are not employed, right, as professors, who don't have, you know, the time to do that kind of work, this is not necessarily an option, right? I mean, what it does do, and I'm running out of time because I got to squeeze this under 10 minutes, and I've got like 15 seconds left. What this does do is it gives people who are not in the academy a way to stay in touch with the Academy in case they would like to return, which is an anxiety a lot of people have. So I'm going to stop it now before it hits 10 minutes.